Hey, what's up, guys? It's me again, and I'm going to talk to you today about horror movies on the TV. That's right. I knew we were going to come to this sooner or later, so I'm going to talk about it. So when you think of like made-for-TV movies, think of really bad soap opera type stuff. It gets better though, especially when in regards to horror. Because if you're a kid of the '90s, you've probably seen a lot of made-for-TV movies. Stephen King actually, there's a lot of adaptations of his books like that. Think of The Langoliers. You know, when the Sci Fi Channel used to be spelled SCIFI, sci fi, not sci fi, SY. I feel like they produced better stuff, but whatever. You know, I think they're doing well today. Uh, but yeah, The Stand, for example, Salem's Lot. I think what else? The Langoliers. Storm of the Century. So all these were like split up. They eventually, were all TV movies, and they were split like into parts to make it look like a series or a mini series. Because they're so long. Um, but yeah, the way modern, times approached, especially with streaming devices. Think of like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and all the other streaming services out there. Um, it's brought in a new wave of introducing horror to the masses. Where, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's nothing like seeing a movie in a movie theater or a feature length film. You get more bang for your buck, but there's a charm. Think of stuff like Tales from the Crypt or Tales from the Dark Side or, God, there's so many Trilogy of Terror. That was pretty awesome. List could go on and on. But yeah, there is something to say about Night Gallery, Twilight Zone, Outer Limits. Those are just other examples. Anyway, I digress. Um, there is a handoff there, and I think it brings more view to the masses, pretty much. Like, more people are able to watch TV as opposed to getting up and going to the theater. That you have to plan that, I mean, you could do it randomly too, but most people are going to flip on their TV or their streaming services. Even like prime channels now, like AMC, IFC, they're able to dish out really good TV series. Not generally horror, but some of them being, in the horror realm. I mean, just look at the takeover the Walking Dead universe did. Every one of them. Some may argue some are better than others. I won't agree with you there, but you have to admit, Walking Dead was a phenomenon, and we're seeing the tail end of it starting to plateau a little bit. But I mean, it's fantastic. Sci-Fi Channel, actually, speaking of sci-fi, it dropped us a Day of the Dead series now, and Chucky's back. Um, they're so fresh. I can't really comment on them. I mean, I like them, I don't. There's some things I could pick that I enjoy, some I don't. They reflect on modern times, so just think of that. A lot of directors feel the need to introduce modern elements to, I guess, you know, reach out to a greater amount of people, to get views. So, sometimes it's a hit or miss, but whatever. I'm glad it's happening, and you could get away with a lot more. Like I noticed on channels like late at night sci-fi sometimes, FX especially. While we do in the Shadows, which is a great vampire comedy, I definitely recommend that. They're able to curse, or you could show certain amounts of nudity. Not quite, but it's there. You know what you're looking at. You know what I mean? And as before, you couldn't really do that. Because when you like think of shows like Angel or Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they can only go so far as violence, cursing, nudity. You know, but now they kind of raise the bar, and it's enjoyable. It really is. I mean, it goes without saying. Netflix shows, especially, you don't have a restriction anymore, and I think that's good. You shouldn't be censoring, a director's work, especially if they have a message to convey when it comes to movies. But also, they have a lot more to say when it comes to TV series. It could be censorship kind of misdirects people. You're not getting the full. cake. You're getting a slice of it. So, um, Midnight Mass, for example, I thought was a fantastic limited series. I don't know where else they could go with that, but that's another show I recommend. Um, it's a religious horror trope. It's pretty awesome. Squid Game. I don't have to talk about that one. That's a lot of people are still talking about that. So you see what I'm saying? You get away with a lot. You get up the ante with violence, cursing, nudity. It all goes. Whereas back then, not so much. Even though I think some of the made-for-TV movies you could get away with a little bit more because it was a feature-length film, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But even the film stock and the film grain, it just had a different texture to it, I think, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I'm a film nerd, so excuse me. Uh, but yeah, I think there is a definitely advantage, especially now if you're breaking into filmmaking. I mean, you could always make a movie, no problem, and market it yourself. But when you have a series, it's almost like having a full time job because you gotta dish out a bunch of episodes at once. You have to keep revisiting it, and if it takes off, then you got multiple seasons. Game of Thrones, um, and people keep coming back. If you find that hook, it doesn't have to be. You don't have to wait for the sequel. You could just do another season of, half hour or sometimes an hour episodes. Think of a TV series now as like mini movies. They're all feature length movies because I think they've gone beyond like the 30-minute. I mean, some are still 30 minutes, but like some Walking Dead episodes run into like hour long stuff, and it's great. It's awesome. It's interesting what they're going to use to fill that slot. I mean, there's still the offshoots because the Walking Dead franchise is big. There's a lot of side stories going on, and I think more are going to be introduced, including some movies if they're still involved with that. But it's always interesting what Netflix or Hulu or Prime or any of them have to offer, and even a lot of recent streaming services. Obviously, Disney Plus has a slew of stuff. I mean, obviously they're Disney-oriented films, but I could see the adultness coming out of like Star Wars. It's not kitty stuff, but it's an adult could enjoy it too. That's what I'm saying. And depending on whatever audience you're trying to obtain, it's going to be kind of directed. You're going to see some stuff you'd be like, oh, I could relate to that or whatever. Where a TV series back then, early 90s and probably before that, just it still had some shock and all, but something was missing. I guess that's why it was TV. But reaching a wider audience, definitely you have to give the win to TV, especially when it comes to streaming services, because everyone has them. Everyone has a phone, so there you go. All right, guys. I just wanted to mention, I think, television has came a long way, especially when it comes to entertainment. And it's done just that, especially it's done wonders for horror. Where now, the artists, producers, directors, they can now project what they want to do, but maybe not have enough room to fit everything in a movie. Now they could stretch out that movie into episodes. And I think that's awesome. Another good addition, some movie channels sometimes, do that too. They'll have a series like, Stars did Ash versus the Evil Dead. And if you're an Evil Dead fan, then it's right up your alley. I'm sad it's over. It was over too soon, but I understand. Bruce Campbell wants to move on, and so does Sam Raimi. So, but yeah, TV series, whether it be action, horror, thriller, it definitely it has a whole feeling, and it builds. Sorry, my computer's like right here, so all the weird techno lights. But yeah, like I said, it brings a whole new audience in. It captivates people just as a movie would do, and it's kind of like a family thing. People will sit at their screen and say, "Okay, it's 9 o'clock. Time to watch this now," or let's go binge watch this. So there you go. It's a whole new thing. We still love movies. Everyone will still eventually go to the movies in force. I see that. I see that now. As COVID starts to kind of not be as impactful, but in a sense, I think TV definitely saved us from going insane without the streaming services. And when COVID was in its like full swing, what else was there to do at home besides, your normal activities? It was kind of an escape from the horrors of the real world to just, sitting in front of your TV and binging a TV series, whatever the genre was, to get your mind off things. So, there's always that argument. But, yeah, that's all I got to say on that. Thanks for listening. Tell me what you think. Do you guys enjoy TV series, especially on the streaming services? I love Walking Dead and, Squid Game and all that. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, or do you prefer just straight movies? A one and done kind of deal, like a comic one shot. All right. Thanks for listening. I hope you're all healthy and well. And until next time, guys. Peace.